Hi everyone. So today, my name is Ivy Ikpeme-Mbakwem and this is Margaret. We've come together to talk about something that is so dear to us, right? And that is anxiety, right? And so I'm going to allow Margaret to just get us into this story, this talk today. Margaret, go on.
All right. Thank you, Ivy. Okay. Well, we're going to share the talk, so let me just start a little and then she'll take over as well. So,
Okay.
you know, when we talk about anxiety, if you look around, more and more the world is witnessing parents, children, and staff workers. They are wearied and they're lacking strength to cope at home, at school, even in the office. No jobs, as we can see. The prices of things are increasing every day. And on the news, we're hearing that economies are crumbling. All these stuff can contribute on how the mental, the emotional, even the social activities of human lives. And you know, according to the World Health Organization, it says that depression is one of the leading causes of disability, poor mental health, which hinders sustainable development. And even suicide now is the fourth leading causes of death among 15 to 29-year-old people. 15-year-old kids taking their lives. That's serious. And the question will be, what can parents, guardians, caregivers, or the society do to help so that people can remain sane, productive, and have enough energy left over to be able to help kids to remain sane as well? Because truth be told, the children cannot do it by themselves. They have to see it from someone being modeled how to remain safe, how to be emotionally stable, mentally stable, and otherwise. So how can it happen? So go on, Ivy, please.
Great. Margaret, this topic is so important, right? And apart from just, getting people to understand, how to first of all, recognize and take control about, their emotions, of their minds and everything when it comes to anxiety and depression, right? It's important for us to, get into the intricacies of this, of this topic, but I think that one thing we should do is to even tell everyone listening to us, who we are.
Yes.
First of all, who we are. Who am I and who's Margaret and who are we, coming to talk to you about this, this topic that is really controlling a lot of us in society today, So I will start with myself. Okay, so like I mentioned, my name is Ivy Ikpeme-Mbakwem, and first of all, I am a mom, right? But I'm also divorced, and it is from this experience that I'll be speaking, in this, exchange about, anxiety and how it affects us. I'm Chief Experience Officer for an organization called Africa Prudential, and, we actually are in different kinds of, different things in businesses. We do different things. We register a business and also morphing into a technology organization. So that's me as a mother. But I also wrote a book. I wrote a book on my journey, through depression, through how I was able to overcome depression in my separation and also going through a divorce, right? And it played a role in my life, right? And so I can speak to you about this, okay? Now, Margaret, on the other hand, is a totally different, ballgame entirely, and I'm going to let her tell you about herself and what she does.
Thanks, Ivy. Every time I hear Ivy's stories, like I'm being fed over and over again. It's like, wow, when you meet people, you hear I love stories. I just thrive on stories and history. A little about me. As she said, my name is Margaret. I'm a mom as well. and I'm married, and I come from the background of education. So my focus in education is basically when children are struggling academically, the question is why? What's going on? So my duty is to go in there and kind of go on a journey to discover what's going on. And then not only what's going on, what could be done. So right now we have a company, a consultancy, and it's Alpha Springs EDU. And our main focus there is helping students enjoy school, learn, and succeed. And we've come to learn that in order for students to enjoy school, learn, and succeed, there's a lot of factors that need to align. The parents need to come on board. The educators, teachers, everyone needs to come on board, and also the children need to come on board. So our work in Alpha Springs is really to can I say, bring to awareness. Parents, you have a role. You know, this is what you can do. Children, you've got a role. We guide them. And also educators, you've got a role. And you find out that when these things are not balanced, there is room for anxiety. Because learning successfully is not rocket science. It can be done. And so Alpha Springs, we focus on the soft skills, you know, little skills. For instance, like we're going to talk about your mindset, your emotion, because if your emotion and mindset are not okay, anxiety will come in.
Absolutely. Definitely come in.
Yeah. So even when the parent is anxious, it will affect the child. When the teacher is anxious, it will affect the child. So the parents and teachers, we feel, need to model these things so that the children can see it and model it back.
Absolutely.
So that's why, from that perspective, that is what you call it. I'm going to talk to you about as an educator, as a mom, and yeah, so that's why we're here.
Yeah, you see why I said she's a star? Okay. So while she'll be coming from the educative or the education part, I'll be speaking from the part of, you know, mothers who are going through separation or divorce, or even if you're widowed, you know, or maybe even if you're a single parent, and you're going to notice how it all ties into everything. We're not, regardless of wherever you are, we're not different. We're not different. We all need the same skill to be able to overcome anxiety. Okay, so Margaret, so how did we meet?
This is the fun part. Because take fun out of anything, I don't know how it's going to work, but this is the exciting part, okay?
It is.
You know what? And when we're talking about anxiety, we discovered that there's something crucial, something very important that can help kind of diffuse it or drive this thing called anxiety away. So that takes me back to how we met. You know, my husband and I, we went to before I say this, remember, when you ask like a musician, a top musician or a singer, how did you come to the scene? Most of the time you hear them, they'll tell you, we started from the church. There's something about this church stuff. So how did we meet? I come to meet, Ivy and I came to meet. My husband and I went to a program in a church. And on that day, there were 4 women on a panel. And the moderator happened to be a man, just one man with 4 women. So as the women started answering questions, Ivy spoke. And you know, as she spoke, I closed my eyes to listen. And as I was listening, I was like, wow. You know, her sincere openness, frankness, and simplicity just caught my attention. And what she said was like, you've got to be kidding me. So simple, but yet true. You know, so after the program, I just summoned up courage, because I don't know how she will take it. And I went up to her and said, do you know that thing you said, and how you said it was just, thank you, it was wonderful. You know, it touched me. And that was it. And then again, I don't know if you call it luck or fate, but I just felt it was meant to be. There was a book launch. Ivy was there with her book, and I was there. Again, we were all asked to speak about our book, and she spoke. Again, I closed my eyes, because sometimes I need to close my eyes to take it in, and I listened to her. I said yes. We bought her book, and when we got home, I said, I've got to read. So after reading, I still felt there's something. I would like to know more about this woman, this lady. So we booked a lunch date, right? And it was just, when something is to be, and here we are. At the lunch, we were just giggling and chatting about 4 hours. And so, you know what? Here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
Okay. And you know what? And really speaking about anxiety, she mentioned something. She was, anxious. She gonna speak to me, and that's the same thing where I felt. So on the day that I was meant to speak as well, I was anxious. I speak a lot, I train and all, but every time I have to speak to people, no matter where, I always have these butterflies, flying in my tummy, right? And just flying anyhow. And, so we want them to fly in formation. But you see, that's where I'm taking control of my anxiety or, fear, of speaking. But the thing is that after the session, right, after church that day, she met me and she gave me a really interesting feedback, nice feedback. And for some reason, that feedback kind of like calmed my anxiety. Because even after speaking, I still felt, Ivy, what did you really say there? I felt like what I said wasn't really, didn't really touch anyone. That's how I feel. I feel like that most of the time. And so getting that feedback from Margaret was so, it was encouraging. It was encouraging to me, and so thank you, Margaret, for that. And so, when we now met at the book fair, it was so interesting because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the lady I met. And then, she's also a writer. My God, wow, what are the odds, right? And so we began to, we actually spent time even speaking that day, and there was this connection. I also bought her book, so this is her book. And I read it. It's the, Brett and Arlie Go to Stormy Island. And when I got back home, I actually read this book, and I found it really interesting. It took me back to the so, if you have young kids, please get this book. It's very important. And then this is the book that I was selling, my own book, yes. The Bouquet From the Flames, as well. And so you see, writing and birthing our books, right, is the common ground as well that has gotten us to this place, today where we had lunch and we're like, why don't we just come together and, just speak to everyone out there about a topic that could help us, in life. And that's why we're here today. And I can't even believe it. I'm excited, Sometimes don't overthink things, just do it,
Just do it.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So the very first thing first question is, Margaret,
yes.
What is anxiety? What really is this thing, anxiety? What is it?
Wow. There's I would like to say anxiety can be looked at in different ways, but to me, one of the best ways or easiest way that I think anxiety can be understood is like comparing it with worry. Putting them side by side. Although many people use worry and anxiety, in the same context, they actually differ. I want to just give like a little example. For instance, worry. You can worry about getting to the airport on time. That's worry. And like Ivy said, when you want to speak, there's this kind of jittery feeling, butterfly and things like that. Yeah, things like that, But we feel anxious. Now, when you feel anxious, I'll take it again. You're worried about getting to the airport on time. You look at that, okay, I'm worried about getting to the airport on time. What can I do? You can decide to leave, for instance, 2 hours in advance. Correct? It's tangible. You can do something about it. Now look at anxiety. Anxiety, you're feeling anxious about traveling. This is just, you're feeling anxious about traveling, the process of traveling. You have not even started. You're thinking, for instance, if you're going on a flight, will the pilot be smart enough to drive this, take us to where we're going? The question is, can you really do anything about that pilot?
Nothing.
There's nothing. Oh my goodness, will it be raining when we're in the sky? Really? Can you really do anything about that? You cannot. So worrying is something tangible that you can do something. Another example is this. Let's take, for example, you can be worried that you're going to be fired from your work, maybe because you didn't do something well. You didn't do something well, so you are worried, right? And now, anxiety on the other way can be, oh, if I go to work today, maybe the computer might just collapse. Or maybe I can even slip and fall. Slip and fall, really? Why would you be thinking you're going to slip and fall? So these are not tangible. So worry is caused by more realistic concerns than anxiety. As I've just said, I think I just like to be very simple when I define these things, Worry is something you can find a solution. But anxiety are things that you really can't find a solution. Will the birds fly? Or will they stop flying? You just worry about, you're just anxious about anything or whatsoever. And and worry is something that is like, can I say, it doesn't really affect your physical body or you mentally, because you can find a solution. But anxiety on the other side, because it's just tormenting you. It's like a torment. You won't allow you to sleep. You're thinking, oh my goodness. If you're jittery about giving a speech, for instance, there's something you can do. You can even call up a friend and say, I'm going to do this speech. Can you go over it with me? There's a normal jittery. But however, when anxiety takes over, is that you keep nursing it. You keep nursing it
in your mind.
In your mind. And when you continue to nurse something like that, before you know, you can't sleep, you can't eat well, your health begins to be affected. Now you are having some sort of anxiety. Anxiety also has different spectrum. So that's the little kind of way I want to explain anxiety to you.
Wow. Well, Margaret, you guys, you can see she has given a clear distinction between worry and anxiety. So for worry, right, you can actually do something about it. You can take action to correct those things. But for anxiety, you can't really do anything about it because it stems from inside, from your mind. But really, when she's saying you can't do anything about it, it means that you don't have any control over those things. Because that means that you're worrying about something that you can't control, right? You're worrying about, for example, is the pilot going to fly this plane? There's nothing you can do. Are you a pilot? Are you going to fly the plane? But then you see how your mind works. So that means it's important for us to understand how our mind works and why we are thinking those things, to be able to take control of it. And there's another thing that she said that's so important: your health. So anxiety can affect your health. Most times people feel that, when you're ill, you're feeling somehow, your body's not exactly the way it's meant. It's not feeling the 100% it's supposed to feel, or what you're used to feeling. If you really take time out to think and reflect, why am I feeling this way? Why am I, feeling so poorly? Why am I not sleeping? Because if you don't sleep, of course it affects your health. It's because you are anxious about something. What is that thing you're anxious about? And why are you struggling so much to have control over it? Any questions for us? Please, feel free to, put it up in the comment section, right?
Yes.
What do you want us to talk about? Because we do have things, but we also want you to be able to engage us and tell us what you want us to talk about when it comes to anxiety. Because you know what? If all of us are doing really well here, I think this world would be a happier place for us to live in.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.